In this video, I investigate if EXIF data is a ranking factor for Google, so stay tuned. All right, first of all, let me explain what EXIF data is. EXIF stands for Exchangeable Image File Format and is the metadata that is added to an image file. Now, the EXIF data contains information about the location, the camera, the date and time, exposure time, lens aperture, film or sensor speed, ISO ratings, etc. Lots of different elements can be in the EXIF data. And you can add data to an image file, such as keywords, your company name, latitude and longitude, which may be more helpful for local SEO. So how does Google use EXIF data? Well, one way Google uses it in an image is to spot and remove copyright violations. Now, for several years, SEO professionals have tried to use specific elements in EXIF data to improve rankings for web pages and Google My Business listings. It is also known that Google strips the EXIF data when images are uploaded to Google My Business. The question is, what does Google do with this information, if anything? Now, some believe that if Google removes this metadata, then it cannot be a ranking factor. Other SEOs still include the EXIF data in images on the off chance that Google will consider the location, keywords, and brand mentions as ranking factors. Now, Google can't control the EXIF data on non-Google properties such as a WordPress website. So many SEO practitioners include some of the metadata that they think will influence rankings on websites. So what does Google say about using EXIF data for ranking purposes? In 2012, Google's Matt Cutts said that Google reserves the right to use EXIF data or other sorts of metadata that they find to help people find information. He went on to say that EXIF data is something that they parse out. Now, in 2018, Matt expanded his statement by saying that Google reserves the right to use the data in ranking. But Matt also said that if the data is already there, it might be useful to someone to learn about the camera type or focal settings. So this is a quote: "I wouldn't worry about adding to, in other words, metadata, if it's not there, but we do reserve the right to use it potentially as a ranking factor." Now, based on these statements, it's not really clear if Google uses the data as ranking factors. If they do use it, how much of a ranking factor is it? So I'd like to go to the SEO Intelligence Agency because they did some testing on EXIF data for ranking. And they did a complete test to see if EXIF is a ranking factor in September of 2021. Now, the SIA set up 5 identical test pages. One test page had an image with EXIF data, and the other 4 pages had the same image and the same location on the page, but without the EXIF data. Now, the results saw the page with EXIF data dropped 1 spot in ranking. Now, the testers thought that this was odd, and they don't think the EXIF data had any bearing on the downward ranking. The SIA did conclude that EXIF data in and of itself is not a ranking factor. So, if you still want to upload images with EXIF data to WordPress, here's the things you need to do. If the image needs to be resized within WordPress after uploading it, WordPress will remove the data to reduce the image size. So you want to make sure that the image is at the size that you want before uploading it to WordPress. So that's why you want to carefully size the image before uploading it so the EXIF data will not be deleted. And if you use an image optimization plugin to reduce the size of the image for a better Web Core Vital score, the app will also remove the EXIF data. But most image optimization plugins have an option for the software to not strip the data. Okay, if you if you want to add EXIF data with a software application, you can use what's called a Geo Imager, GeoImger.com. I'll leave a link in the description. And you can easily add metadata to your image, such as geolocation and some keywords. This is not the only application that does this, but I found this one to be good. The website has a useful guide on how to use their web-based products, so I'm not going to go over it in today's video. And they have a free and a paid version. So, in conclusion, based on testing and what Google has said, I tend to believe that Google does not use EXIF data in their ranking algorithm. And if they do, it's probably a very small ranking factor. Google is reading the data, but I don't believe it is for SEO purposes. Now, if you want to take the time and the effort to do the EXIF data stuff, go ahead. I just don't think it is worth it for the small gain or maybe no gain at all. That's why I don't bother with using EXIF data for SEO purposes on my own website and for client websites. So if you need help with your website or SEO, contact me. My name is Ron Collins. I'm the owner of Blue Lacy SEO. So make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Everyone be blessed, and I'll see you next time.